What's something that's heavily outdated, but you love using anyway, assuming you could, in theory, replace that thing? A physical calculator. Especially the "adding machine variety with big numbers that make clicking noises. I don't know why, but smartphone calculators suck emo even in horizontal mode. It's much less convenient than the calculator I used in school, which I still use to this day with physical buttons. I make less typos and also, it's much easier to do stuff with fractions or exponentials. The PS2 is pretty old now, but I still think it's brilliant. It had so many games, including one of my personal favorite PS2 games in The Simpsons Hit and Run. I would even go so far as to say that the PS2 is probably the best console ever made. The only one I can think of that can measure up is the SNES. It also had almost complete backwards compatibility with PS1 stuff, including the ability to read PS1 memory cards. So you could basically play any game from both the PS1 and PS2 eras on the PS2. Pre-war Singer sewing machine. Got from a flea market. The only modern part is a small electric motor I installed on it. I'm also pretty sure that thing could survive atmospheric re-entry. Edit. Wow, thanks for the awards. Some people asked about the motor. Despite being pedal powered, my Singer already had the mounting points for a small electric motor. It was just a matter of finding one that fits. Which wasn't hard. Considering how famous Singer machines are, there are several brands of motors made to adapt on vintage machines, so I have a 1930s machine with a 1990s motor. Alarm clock. I figure most people just use the alarm on their phone and set it next to their pillow, but I like having one across the room. I can just look up at night and see the time, and I have to physically get up and turn the alarm off, so I never worry about oversleeping. My $8 analog alarm clock is one of the best thing I've ever bought. I've never missed a class since I've started using it. I use and collect fountain pens since I was younger, 25 now, and I never enjoy using other writing utensils. Something about writing with fountain pens is so enjoyable for me that convenience doesn't matter. I went to grammar school in Germany and we used fountain pens. There is nothing like it. An actual calendar/planner. I don't know why I just don't feel like typing shit out on my smartphone. I'm just so used to decades of using planners to write down when I work, what I have to do, birthdays, vacations, events, etc. Trying to get Alexa to add an appointment for next week turns into a goddamn 2-minute interview. My 1961 model Electrolux vacuum cleaner. It's the same age as I am. Gets carpet and floors cleaner than any new vac I've tried. Uses disposable bags that are easy and clean to change. Everything important is metal, not shit plastic. Hell, I've used it to blow leaves off of my deck with a blower opening on it. Self-retracting cord. Heavy. Pretty quiet. I'm going to use it until it dies, then have it rebuilt and use it some more. iPod Classic 120 gigs. I've got about 7,000 songs uploaded, and about 3,000 of those songs were uploaded from CDs that I've owned from with span of about 15 years. I still use my iPod Nano 2nd Gen in the car. Only has 4 GB, but still holds a decent amount of songs, mostly old school hip hop. It's nice to have a piece of tech that was designed for one purpose only. Still love printing photos out, especially of my daughter. I want to hold on to them and treasure them for as long as I'm alive, and one day look back on them with her. Edit. Thank you for the award, kind stranger. I read once that a photo isn't truly finished until it's printed. Ever since then, if I'm editing a photo I make sure it's suitable for print. Only the price of ink holds me back. A treadle sewing machine from the 50s. It's the most trustworthy thing I own, and so simple in design it's easy to fix if something happens to it. Electric machines are too complicated for their own good. Alternatively, a belt-driven machine from the same era is basically a treadle machine with an electric motor. I recently bought one, and I'm fixing it up. I prefer taking notes on a paper pad and a uniball pen. I can type over 100 WPS. It just sticks in my head better when I write it. Plus, there's something cathartic about doodling in the margins when there's no substance to what's being said. Edit. 100 WPM. No, I'm not a robot. My Nintendo DS Lite. There's nothing wrong with the Switch, of course. People have used emulators to play the older Pokemon games, but it doesn't feel the same as holding the console. Edit. Holy crap, I did not expect this many responses. I'm glad to know so many people share my nostalgia. Thank you for the awards. Downloading music into storage compared to streaming from apps or preloading songs on the app for offline streaming. As someone who keeps my music library all on my point camera and just copies it to my phone, I was heartbroken when Google Play Music got canned recently. It was perfect for just listening from a local library. It had streaming features, but I never use that. Music downloaded on your phone or PC is best. No ads, no internet connection required. Physical whiteboards. I don't care how slick Zoom's feature of the same name gets, it will never replace the convenience of whipping out a marker and sketching some ideas out freehand. As soon as I started my degree, I got a whiteboard to do math and physics on, and I'll never go back. I find I make way less mistakes than on paper because I can really space out my work. Snail mail. I know email and texts are quicker, and I still use those too, but nothing beats getting a letter in the mail. Edit. Holy cow, this is now officially my most upvoted comment. None of my stuff ever gets this much traction. Thank you all for commenting, and good luck writing letters. Seeing your own name, handwritten, from someplace else, is just touching in a way. When my husband and I first got married, and I moved many states away, my mom began writing me long chatty letters. She wrote them for almost 25 years, up to the unfinished one on her desk when she died. They weren't amazingly unique, but it helped me feel home and to remember who I was at heart through early years of marriage and motherhood and my husband's military career. Handwritten letters are irreplaceable. Edited because I love the Hugs Award and honestly needed it. Next week, mom would have turned 77. She has been in my thoughts a lot. Mechanical watch. It feels like a little piece of rebellion to have such an inherently outdated, but beautiful, technology with me constantly. Most expensive mechanical watches are paid for the level of art and painstakingly small details perfected. Smartwatches? Firstly, fragile. Second, I don't want calls on my watch. Third, there is something about an actual seconds hand ticking away. OFC, I love smartwatches, but I'm taking a premium watch over a smartwatch any day. Edit, please don't get mad at my comment. I loved my Apple Watch Series 2. Saving up for a Series SE so chill. Not sure if this is in the spirit of the post, but my 1968 Arene snowblower. The thing is a dinosaur, absolutely no frills, but I keep her maintained. She starts on one pull and has churned through a lot of snow and some heavy winters. I'd have it no other way. I love that little beast. Physical books. There's just something so pleasing about having overflowing bookcases, the feel of a real book in your hands, the rasp of the paper, the colorful titles adorning your shelves, the new and old book smells, etc. Book smells are the best smells. Walking through a bookstore wouldn't be the same without those scents. Maps. Paper maps are amazing. I love analyzing them. They're like artwork to me. Every time I use MapQuest, Google Maps and the like, I get stressed out and feel so out of touch with where I'm going. I love taking pictures with film cameras. Something about it is very zen to me. For me, it's because I slow down and I'm intentional with each exposure. That's not to say I don't take care when I use my phone, but there's something different about having only 24 or 36 frames, and it's most exciting when they are developed and printed. Using a big old dictionary. There's something about opening a big book that creaks and crackles as you open it. Searching for that word you're trying to define all the while seeing other definitions of words you didn't know. Picasa. Google killed it off years ago in favor of the Google Photos app, which is absolute garbage. You can still download the last version in a couple of places and you have to make tweaks now and then to keep it running. I've tried so many other photo software packages and they all lack the versatility and simplicity of Picasa. I've learned over the years that if Google makes anything great, they will soon kill it if they feel it distracts from a newer, often inferior, product. I'm still salty about Google Reader. They killed that because they thought it was poaching users from Google Buzz. Then they killed Google Bus because it turned out no one likes it. Then they did not bring back Reader. A typewriter. Not the cool looking old ones, they are horrible to write on. I'm talking about an electric typewriter from the 80s/90s that have a very computer-like keyboard, but you just stick a paper in it. I have one, and after working on 2 laptops, neither of which will sync with the office printer, maybe I'll just bring it in. Landline. As in a phone that is not connected to the internet and does not require cell service. Edit. Last earthquake that hit I was the only one able to contact anyone else. Last hurricane. Same thing. No one uses landlines anymore. I can call anywhere in the world at any time, unless the line is physically severed, and I can do it faster than a cell phone during times of unrest or disaster. Landline. Film photography. It's such a process that I love going through to capture life's best moments. Buying music. There's nothing like owning the vinyl or CD, maybe even tape, of your favorite albums. Streaming services are damn convenient, but they don't have the liner notes, lossless audio, or just the general excitement you get when you walk out of the store with that album you've been wanting to buy. My iPhone 4S. It's barely alive. My daily driver is an iPhone 7, and I have an iPhone 6 with touch disease in the drawer. Why I use it? Headphone jack, compact size and that fantastic all-glass design. Even though it's slow for an iOS 9.3.5. Hand winding watches. I prefer an elegant classic watch piece over a digital watch any day. Though, I don't have any hate for Apple watches. I have a mid-range Swiss automatic that I got a very good deal on when I worked at a jewelry store. There's just something about knowing that it will outlive me and that it won't just end up in a landfill in 3 years. Headphone jacks. Wired headphones. I do not want to have to recharge something that was free to use till it really was done, and if the charge is gone, then what? I won't make the volume go up on my phone in public like a heathen. Cast iron steel. Besides my pans, I have a cheese slicer that I love. Besides cheese blocks, I slice butter, boiled eggs, tomatoes. Love this thing. But cast iron is the best. Just because it is old tech doesn't mean coated pans are better. A cafetiere or French press. I know a coffee machine is far more practical, but I love the process. I love the whiff of coffee aroma when I open my coffee grounds pot. I love stirring it while it brews. I love pressing down the plunger. I even love draining the used grounds through a sieve. A morning's not begun till I've had my coffee fix. I smash a ton of miles on my 1950s typewriter. No, I'm not that guy with a twisty mustache and boots. But being able to put my thoughts to paper in the most unobtrusive, distraction-free way available to me has proven to be so valuable. Plus the thing is fucking gorgeous. 3. Guitar tube amps. Tube technology is like 100 years old and there are digital amps and modeling amps that are as good as tube amps, but for some reason we in the guitar community gravitate towards tube amps. Listening to vinyl records. Obviously, listening to music on my phone is way more convenient on the daily, but on those days I just wanna sit back and relax. I'm pulling out Billy Joel's Cold Spring Harbor and pouring myself a shot of bourbon. The great thing about vinyl is you can't skip ahead, so you end up listening to the entire album. This is especially good if it's a concept album and the artist intended you to listen to the whole thing. Just wanted to add, isn't it funny that no matter how much we progress technologically, we always long for old school ways of doing things, old media, etc. It just goes to show you don't realize how special certain things are until they've been overshadowed by technology. Also shows that a lot of times technology equals EASY, but that leaves a lot to desire in terms of the way something old school might make you feel. My 55 years old Ramoska. For anyone outside of Czechia, Ramoska is an aluminium baking dish with heating element in the lid. It's basically an oven the size of baking bowl. Also it's basically indestructible as far as I know. The heating is made of thick wire, set in ceramic housing. The company that made them back in the day nearly bankrupted because every household bought one and didn't need a replacement ever since. They're so good. May I introduce you to the wonderful world of mechanical watches? They define the look of the analog watch and require no batteries. They work by precisely controlling the expansion of a spring. The spring provides the energy for the watch and are either wound by hand or by a counterweight system. The counterweight system harnesses energy from your swinging arms while you walk and require no winding. These are called automatic watches. Check out Seiko 5 watches. They are legendary in the space and quite affordable. Stoneware dishes from the 70s. My grandma thrifted them for me when I moved to my first apartment. They have little farm animals, are heavy, and have seen me through the last 18 years. My kids plan to split them up and take them with them when they move out. My current car 2003 Lancer Evolution 8. It's simple enough that I can work on it myself, but modern enough that it isn't too old. Also, there are only a few electronics modules, which is what scares me most about getting a new car and wanting to work on it myself. CAN bus, multiple body control modules, etc. Adobe Flash. Come on, tech industry. Why are you so casual about killing off so much of the old internet at the end of the year? IKR. My soul will die that day Flash stops working. I'm glad sites like Cool Math Games are making a backlog for their Flash games, but Flash should never die. It's like killing the existence of books. I actually love manual windows. I'm in my early 30s and I truly love the convenience of manual windows over automatic. You don't need to turn on your engine or unlock the windows to adjust them. I also think they are just charming. My 40-year-old crock-pot slow cooker. Sure, I could use one of those newfangled instant pots, but I feel like letting the ingredients cook away for 7 or 8 hours slowly really helps. In the words of Babish, the flavors get to know each other. I have 2 things that I still use. My 1950s Sunbeam mixer that has been the most reliable compared to other mixers I've had over the years. And my 1978 Jeff food processor that runs as though it's brand new. Husband says I have a de facto kitchen museum, but for me, the vintage machines were much better built. Imo. Cars with actual key ignitions instead of push starts. What the fuck is the purpose? I can't stand having to search for my key fob every time I get out of my car. I will never buy another vehicle with a push start edit. Never buy an Infiniti. They are hot garbage. You will regret it. Back in the very early days of keyless push buttons, I test drove a car that had one, stopped back on the lot, and was headed in to sign paperwork. The salesman dropped the key as he was handing it to someone else to move it and do the final cleanup. It happened to land in a puddle, and the car would not start after that. He said it'd be fine after the key dried. The $300 the spare would have cost made me decide that was a deal-breaking feature. I hope to be able to have a real key forever. I don't know if this counts, but the Nintendo Wii. Yay, the Switch can do the same stuff, but it doesn't have those great games and accessories, especially the Wii board edit. Also, number 1 wants to hold a tiny controller when you can hold a big Wii remote, golf club, tennis racket, baseball bat, or anything else you can think of. And does anyone even remember the Wii U? Cause I hardly do. Safety razor. 10 years ago, I spent $100 on a razor, blades, and soap. I figure I probably have enough blades for another 20 years. I'll need to buy soap in 3 years, and the razor is good till I die. Disclaimer, I have a beard, and I don't shave every day, but I'm still streets ahead than if I went disposable. I guess manual transmissions, even though the majority of motorsports use them, H-pattern or sequential. If I had $1 for every time someone has told me manuals are outdated, I'd have enough to go buy a new manual car, but not enough to recoup the cost of all the automatics that have failed me. I think I've let my dislike for automatics devolve into an irrational hatred, but I feel like that is okay with inanimate objects. I have a Bissell carpet sweeper. I haven't used my vacuum since I got it. My grandma used to have one when I was a kid. I never knew how convenient this thing is. Plus, it doesn't scare the cat or bother the neighbors when I use it. I know heavily outdated is relative here, and top comment RN is about a cool Asprey Warsinger, but my thing is my first generation Kindle Paperwhite. It's really clunky to use, and its only functionality is read books and slowly browse more books to buy, but with intense screen lag. I've had it since college. It's perfect because I have severe ADHD, and I literally just want my e-reader to be a portable library that doesn't take up precious square footage in my apartment. If it's an actual tablet with actual functions, I get distracted. I just want to read. Though I don't personally consider them outdated, as I still think they've got a place in our modern world, I'd have to say the typewriter. I adore them. No distractions, other than your own brain. No charging, no screen-induced headache. The writing process is audible, the end result is tangible. From correspondence to grocery lists, I think typewriters are must-have for any home. Visit r/typewriters if you'd like some inspiration. It's a really great community. Renting DVDs by mail. I'm subscribed to Netflix's original DVD by mail service and I love it. A lot of people who I tell about this are shocked it still exists, but it does. Get a lot of access to stuff you normally wouldn't via streaming. People sleep on renting movies from your local library too. They are not just for books, plus it's free. I don't know if this applies, but having a separate device to listen to my music. I kept using my iPod mini, yeah, the pink brickish one, until 2014 when it broke, and my dad gave me his old iPhone. Some people teased me for not wanting to put my music in my phone. I guess it's more practical, but there is something about having a separate device to listen to my music that just feels right. I know, random and silly, but hey, that's Reddit for you. Thumb shifters on my MTN bike. State of the art in the 80s, replaced with newer/better/faster shifting systems and an expanded number of rear gears. 12 in the woods now, all promising to be the best thing ever, but have issues with mud and cable tension. I keep using my thumb shifter because just works in all conditions. I can feel where I'm in my range by the position of the lever, no need to glance down at the bar, and even if you smash the rear derailleur setting the shifter to friction mode, pure cable pull, no indexing, will accommodate anything, no matter how messed up things are. New ones are still available, ever for the 12 SPD systems.